Vlakosavica. I believe we played this person before. Let's start off with... We're going to start off with knight f3. See what they decide to do. Okay, d5. Let's play g3. c5. Bishop g2. They're going to play knight c6 probably. Let's play d4 here. Stop them from playing e5. Kind of counter that with a push in the center. If they play e5 now, we're going to trade and then play c4. Yeah, we played this guy at least once, maybe twice before. I'm not entirely sure. Just get castled. So we're putting the pressure on their center. Knight c3. If they ever take our pawn, we get the c6 pawn. So we're not worried about that. We can play bishop g5, hit the knight, which is defending the d5 pawn. The question is, do I want to exchange first and then do that? I think we're just going to do this first. e4, okay. So we forced a little bit of a concession here. We're just going to take and then play queen to d4, I believe. Queen d4, maybe not. Queen d2 is also okay. Yeah, let's do queen d2. Is seeking a game different from just pressing the new 3-2 button? Yeah, that's the same thing. Seeking a game just means looking for a game, no matter what time control you're using. Same exact meaning. And I'm playing 3-2, that's why it takes a bit longer. Yeah, that's probably part of it as well. Not maybe as many 3-2 players out there. Okay, I guess we're just taking this pawn for free. And then just retreating to d4. Looks like a free pawn in my opinion. Let's go back to d4. We might also grab the knight and then take the d5 pawn at the right time. So we're up a pawn and already Black's got more control of the center, but he's definitely got some holes, some kind of gaps in his control here. So bishop to b4, okay. I guess we'll just play a3. Not really worried about that exchange at all. We can do bishop takes or queen takes. Let's do queen takes. Or bishop takes, either way. Let's do bishop takes. We'll play like queen d4 at some point. And we're probably just going to start rushing the A and B pawns. Just b4, a4, b5. We're probably just going to rush those pawns down the board pretty soon. Let's go queen d4 first, though. Actually, what am I doing? We can take f6, they take back, and then we take the h6 pawn. That looks like some yummy material. Now that this d pawn is pinned as well, bishop takes e4 as a threat. So if they take b2, we might take e4. I'm either a 1-0 or a 10-0 player if I had difficulty to get the timing right in between. Yeah, I'm definitely... I've played a lot more Bullet than I have, Blitz or things like that. But the timing can be a little bit tricky if you're not used to certain time controls. I think we're just going to double up the rooks here. We could also play h4, h5, something like that. We're just going to double the rooks and hit the d-pawn. A queen trade. I'm not opposed to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'd be up 3 pawns. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I don't see why not. Just play rook c1. Just go b4, I believe. Bishop h3 is also an idea. If we can win the e6 pawn, then the d5 pawn is weak as well. Alright, I guess we can do... You just do rook here. If the problem is if I play b4, he's just going to switch to attacking the a pawn. I think we'll just go here and just kind of see what white decide or black what black decides to do. All right. I think we just do e3 now. Now he's going to have to constantly defend d5. I'm probably just going to play like bishop, somehow maneuver the bishop to like c6. Bishop here to c6 would be nice. Yeah, so I think we're just going to do that right now. Reroute the bishop to attack the pawn. Don't need to trade there. And give him a pass pawn. That's not really necessary to do. Okay, we're going back to d7. We're also down like a minute and a half here, so I need to speed the timer up here a bit. I'm up 3 pawns, so shouldn't be anything overly difficult. We're taking here. Taking here, and then we're playing rook d2. So now these pawns are fairly weak. If he plays rook b3, I have bishop f5. So he should play bishop g6. Should play bishop g6, I assume. Let's go f4, f5 maybe next move to kick the bishop around. We're just going to check and then play f5. The bishop's going to move. We're going to pick up the pawn. And once we pick up these 2 pawns, it's pretty much over at that point. As long as nothing silly happens. He could play bishop f3, but I'm not going to get checkmated here. Yeah, so I'm not going to get checkmated here. I'm not worried about that. He could check and then take h2, though. Which is a little bit annoying, but I think at the end of the day, we're just going to kick this bishop around a bit. Next move, I'll play f6 check, and then now the rook is in an awkward spot. Rook h6 he needs to play. Now we're just going to get the king out, hit his bishop, and we're just going to push the a pawn and push the kind of combination of all 3 pawns here. Rook b4. Just go here. Go bishop c4, offer a trade. Rook b6 check is also a threat. Okay, so now it should be easily winning here for the most part. Maybe easier said than done though. We're just gonna move around. Get in front of the pawn. Let's play here to block some of the rook checks if needed. I think we can walk the king toward the rook. It should be okay. Yeah, we'll just walk the king toward the pawn, and then this should be start pushing the a pawn pretty soon. Don't even necessarily need to bother with these pawns too much. Just push that. This king can't really get involved at all because of the, well, we have to go back here real quick. Okay, just go here. Get a check in there. Let's get another check. Rook e6. Now this king is cut off from the g-pawn. We can just start pushing the g-pawn now. So he can't take the pawn, or else I just push. And if he goes back to g8, I have rook b8. Took a little longer than maybe I needed to, but you know, we do have some time trouble going on. Now I'm just gonna promote next move, and there's nothing he can do about it. Yeah, we'll just promote. He'll get a couple checks with the rook in, but that's pretty much it. I think he took a little bit more than it used to be. Yeah, that could have probably been finished off earlier, but what's the analysis here? Okay, so the opening goes pretty fine for both sides. I don't like his e4 here, though. He should play... it's hard to say. This is a little tricky spot for him where there's a lot of pressure on his d-pawn. My threat is just to take. For example, if he castles, just take, something like that, just to win a pawn. He should be playing like rook b8 to counterattack, and then I'd play maybe, I don't know, queen d2 or b3 or something like that. And maybe now he can castle, because if we do the same exact thing at the end of the day, there's sometimes ideas of this, and then rook takes b2. If I go here, he just plays takes, and then at the end of the day, there's definitely ways he could play better here. For example, this is pretty much perfectly even. His e4 move, though, it kind of gives a lot of holes in his position, in my opinion. The d4 square is weak, especially after the trade. This is a backward pawn. Backward pawn here. Now we just want to control the d4 square pretty well, which is why I eventually stick the bishop there. His queen d7 move is also a mistake because of the capture, and then I capture on h6 as well. Capture another pawn. So we're up 3 pawns already at this point. Maybe trading the queens wasn't necessary, but I felt it's probably the safest way to go about things. It shouldn't be too difficult to win here. And at the end of the day, after some trades, we eventually pick up the 2 pawns. We're up 3 pawns. It might take a little while to you know, completely finish the game off, but we're really in no trouble of losing by any means. And there really shouldn't be a chance of drawing either. I think I've got the chess book. Thanks for providing the antidote, dude. Oh, no problem. That's awesome. Get the chess book. It's definitely fun. I kind of kept my king over here for too long, trying to help these 2 pawns, but I should have noticed that this king was never really going to get kicked out. So my king really should have just gone over this way quicker. And eventually it does, so I eventually figure out the right plan. Rook a4 also could have been perfectly fine here. Now his king is cut off from the g-pawn, and we're just going to push this, and then push this. And it's, yeah, he can't really stop both at the same time, so it's pretty easy to win. So really his mistakes came down to losing a lot of pawns. He gave up the a7 pawn earlier for free. He let me take on f6 and then take on h6 for free. I picked up 3 pawns pretty easily, which ended up leading to his in-game defeat. Alright, so we'll look for another game here, though. We are up to